guess what time it is? Yep, that's right. Maintenance time. It's time to do the 200-hour service on the 1023. So that includes change engine oil and filter, change transmission oil and filter, clean transmission suction screen and internal magnets, check and service air filter elements, check and service air filter elements when the restriction indicator is red for a 1025R, clean radiator and oil cooler fins, inspect alternator belt, check wheel bolt torque. We're also going to do the every 50-hour section, which is check tire air pressure, clean and check battery, check front axle oil level, lubricate machine. Now I do the every 50 hours. I mean, I don't really keep track of how often I do this. It's definitely more than every 50 hours. I would say every 10 to 20 hours I do this stuff here. So it's just good practice. I like to make sure everything's greased good. Keeping everything well lubricated is key on making this equipment last. Alright, so I like to use manufacturer suggested lubricants and filters whenever I'm servicing something. You know, John Deere, this stuff's going to be a little more expensive than what you're going to get, you know, at your local tractor supply store or Walmart or what have you, but you know, typically this stuff is the best stuff you can get for it. So for the hydraulic fluid, this tractor calls out for high guard, the low viscosity high guard. That's part number TY22000, about 4 gallons of it. The engine oil calls out for the plus 50, 1540. TY26674 takes 3 quarts. Engine oil filter M806418. Hydraulic filter LVA 16054. So this service cost me a total of $107.63. So the first thing I like to do before I work on anything is just blow everything out real good. Just try to get all the loose stuff out of here. I'm going to take these side panels off for easier access, and the way we can inspect everything and, you know, clean anything that might need some cleaning. If I remember correctly, they make a quick connect for this now, and it's direct replacement. It comes on the newer ones, but it can be used on these. I'll see if I can find that part number for you. So you just pull back and then out and then forward. So anytime I'm working on anything, I like to just give a general inspection of the whole unit. So I'll check the belts, check all the electrical connections, make sure everything's tight, clean. You know, any hose clamps and hoses, check the condition of all of that. You know, also make sure this thing isn't super hot when you're working on it. You don't want to burn yourself on anything. Check the debris screen here. It's pretty clean. I keep this thing clean on the regular, you know, especially during the summer months when it's dusty and things like that. I'll make sure I blow this out every time before I start the tractor up. You know, it only takes a few minutes to pop the hood, pull this out, blow it out, put it back in. It's worth, you know, not overheating your tractor because of something so simple. So I'm just going to keep this out and I'm going to blow the radiator out real good first here. It looks pretty clean. Something else I always like to do is to make sure my battery connections are clean. You know, I like to clean the top of the battery off. And then I also like to spray the terminals down with some type of corrosion protectant. And they make this stuff here. You know, this is the CRC battery terminal protectant. I haven't had good luck with this. It seems to either wear off or just corrode right over or through it. This stuff doesn't work very good for me, so I don't use this anymore. I use this fluid film. I mean, this stuff here is pretty great. So I use it to spray on truck chassis, battery terminals, you know, any electrical terminal. And I'm going to try it on my mower deck this year too. They say if you spray this on the bottom of your mower deck, you know, you don't get that buildup under there. You can just clean it off and spray it again pretty quickly. So I'm going to try that this year too. So just give a light coating there. And it's good to go. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do here is drain the oil. Make sure you have your oil pan underneath the drain plug here, and then we'll go ahead and loosen this up. It's always good to have a rag or some shop towels handy whenever you're doing this so you don't make a mess and don't have to go searching for it once you got oil everywhere. While you have your drain plug off, it's always good to inspect that gasket on there, make sure it's in good shape. While that's draining, we'll go ahead and get the oil filter off of here. Make sure you position your drain pan underneath of that as well. If I remember from last time from the factory, this thing was entirely too tight. I ended up having to stab through it to get it loose. It's pretty tight. Let's see what we can find here. You need to give me one of those sockets, the universal ones that grip onto it and you can get it with a ratchet. I need to pick one of them up. I think that would be pretty useful. I'm also want to say this here didn't work for me last time either. Now the one that came from the factory, when I changed it at the 50-hour service, it was a lot worse than that to get off. I mean, it fought me big time. I was doing some reading, and evidently John Deere is notorious for way over tightening filters from the factory, so just keep that in mind. Let's get the new filter put on here. Make sure you lube up the gasket a little bit. Make sure there's no debris on there. So the way I like to do it is touch it off there and then give it another quarter turn. And that's good. Ain't no need to tighten that thing way down or anything like that, just snug it up. And that's a 17 millimeter on that. Make sure you wipe your funnels out before you use them. So you have your drain plug back in and tight, you got your new oil filter on. It's time to put some oil in it, and I like to start and just put 2 quarts in. Here's a little tech tip for you. You know, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there's a little graphic on most oil bottles. I don't know if anybody ever paid attention to what that means or not, but if you pour your oil like this, see how it glugs? It's because the air can't get past it to allow the oil to come out. So if you turn it over and pour with the spout towards the top, air can get around it and it pours nice and smooth. So after I get 2 quarts in it, I just like to go ahead and check it, see where we're at. Could use some more. I do that on everything that I'm changing oil in. Stop a quart shy of what it calls out for, because it's a heck of a lot easier to add oil than it is to take it out. So alright, so it's up there pretty good. We'll start it up and let the filter fill up. Check it again. Look at this. It is coming down. I gotta get this driveway finished. Alright, she's right there, dead nuts right in between the dots. So I think we can live with that. Alright, so while I was messing around there, I noticed that this fuel filter was loose and it was up against the plastic here, and it's not good. It could wear in, and matter of fact, there's a little bit of an indentation there on the bottom where it's been rubbing, so it looks like this bolt's just loose. So let's get that tightened up. There, that's better. And that's why I say always look everything over real good. You know, that there may be another season of it rubbing against here, and I would have had to replace that. Now I should be good to go. You know, always check everything over real good. An ounce of prevention, you know, whatever the saying is. What the hell is that thing? Let's check this air filter too here. That's looking pretty dirty. I really probably should have replaced this thing. Next time I'm up in town, I'm going to get a new one of these. For now, we just blow it out. That one there looks practically new still, so we'll leave that go. You know, in the manual it said not to use compressed air to blow these out, but I've always done that. If they don't look too bad, I'll just give them, you know, a quick hit with the air compressor. But this is definitely needing replaced, but I don't have one. I didn't anticipate on it being that bad. So, like I said, next time I'm up in town, I'll pick up a new one and put it in. So, I'll just put that back in for now. And then, you know, this is on there like this, and this is a debris collector, so or dust collector. You know, most of the time it'll just fall right out, but sometimes if you get something big in there, you know, just get her taken care of. Then when you put this back on, just make sure that debris collector is on the bottom. Good to go. Good to go. Alright, so I noticed it was a little low on coolant, so let's top that off. I mean, there's a little bit in there, but so I do have some John Deere Cool Guard 2 on hand, and this is pre-diluted. When you're jacking up the rear of a tractor, keep in mind that those front axles pivot. You could get yourself into a little bit of trouble there if you don't pay attention. This is the safest way I've found to service the transmission. You have to remove the left side wheel. So I put a jack stand right under the hub there. So this side is being supported by that, and then the other side is just on the wheel. So yeah, it's solid. So now we have to drain the fluid. So here's your drain plug here. It's on the right side of the tractor at the bottom. Little ear sticking out of the casting. That looks like a 13. Y'all keep in mind this thing takes 13 quarts. So you're going to want to keep an eye on your pan. You probably have to switch it out if you don't have one big enough. I don't remember how much this one holds, so we'll have to pay attention. Alright, this is getting a little full. I don't want to be spilling it everywhere, so let's plug this back up and go empty it out. So my father-in-law has a clean burn furnace, and I always save all of my oil, take it over to him. And I looked online and it says that those can burn hydraulic oil too, so we'll just mix that right in there. I keep these 15-gallon plastic drums on hand, or yeah, 15-gallon plastic drums on hand, and when I get one full, I take it over, drop it off to him, get another one. So it's a good way to get rid of your oil. Find somebody that has a clean burn system. If you don't know anybody, just go around to all your local mechanics and garages, and you'll find somebody that'll take that oil, so you don't have to pay to recycle it. All right, so while we're waiting on that to finish draining, it looks like it's almost done. We're gonna go ahead and get this screen filter out. And make sure you get your drain pan underneath there. Alright, that's a 6mm hex key. She got some metal on her. You know, I don't know if they were BSing me or not, but they said that that's perfectly normal. So you pop that off there, and there's a couple of magnets inside there. Some models, I guess, have 2 magnets in them, so make sure you check in there and get them both out if you have them. I just blew that out with some compressed air. You just pop your magnet back in there, and this is ready to go back in. Make sure you clean that off, and you got a little bit of oil on your O-ring there. Pop that back on. Now, when I did my 50-hour service on this, I pulled this out, and there was giant metal shavings on here. And no joke, them things, I mean, they were like this big. This is a foil wrap, but they were big, and there was several of them. So I went to John Deere and asked them about it. Now I don't know if I was just getting the runaround because they didn't want to deal with it or whatever, but it was concerning to me. They said it was normal, you know, for the 50-hour service. That's why you do the 50-hour service, which sort of makes sense, but you know, it still was concerning. And they said to, you know, at the 200-hour service, if that was still the case, then to contact them. But, you know, it's out of warranty now, so not that it would matter now anyways. But so fortunately, that didn't have any big shavings. Just it did have some metal on it, but you know, that's the reason this is in here. So I would assume that's pretty normal. So let's just get this back in there. always try to get the clamps back in the same spot they were in, the ones these style anyhow. And this top clamp here, I found it easier to have the ears facing towards the rear of the tractor. You can come in through the hitch plate and grab a hold of it there. Alright, so now let's change this filter here. And I remember this one being a real pain in the butt too. Seems kind of stupid. Alright, so I'm starting to remember this one now. So this wrench that's, you can select the different sizes here, and it's right in between. The next notch is too small and this notch is just a hair too big. So I had some rubber that I put in here to kind of grip it better. But it looks like just, from the factory, like I was saying, they're really super tight. It looks like I just kind of tweaking this a little bit and turning it, it's moving for me. So we'll just keep going with that. Make sure your drain pan's underneath there. Oh, come on. All right, so I think you also should lower the 3 points so this quick connect system for the mower deck lowers down out of the way. I think that would have been a little bit easier, which I should probably do anyways because that's probably holding oil, so let me do that now. Alright, so I lowered that down, but I forgot that the mower deck height was on lock, so I'll fish this thing back up through there now. Once again, make sure you oil up that gasket a little bit. When I was emptying that first batch of oil into my collection drum, I saw this in my drain pan. This looks like a crush gasket for this. So make sure you pay attention. Pay attention for that. All right, let's get this wheel put back on. Torque spec is 89 pound-feet. Alright, so I don't know if I got that or not, but I put 12 quarts in it, stopped, checked it, it was down below the fill mark. So I added another quart to get the 13 quarts, and it came up to just below the full mark. So I started it up and ran it, and now I'm going to check it again. Alright, that's full. Took 14 quarts. Now that we have all the oil and the hydraulic fluid changed, let's go ahead and grease the machine. Alright, so there's 5 grease points on this machine. The first one we're going to do is the power steering cylinder pivot point. It makes this one easier if you have the front end off the ground, so you can rotate the drive shaft with the front wheels off the ground. Here's the front drive shaft rear fitting. Alright. I think that's all of them. So that was a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 grease fittings on the bottom here. 7 grease fittings. So you got your drive shaft, you got your mid PTO shaft, front and rear and slide. You got your front drive shaft, rear and front. Then you got your steering cylinder pivot point. Alright, so I pulled my jack stands out of the front there. I'm going to take the weight off the loader. Then we're going to grease 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points on each side of the tractor. Yeah, I like to grease the loader pretty much before every time I use it. You know, if I used it the last time I had the tractor out, then I'll grease the loader. And then especially after I pressure wash it. After I pressure wash it, I always grease it because you wash some of that out with the pressure washer. So make sure you do that. And this thing here, this is awesome. I mean, this is the only way to grease. This is the DeWalt DCG G571 20 volt cordless grease gun. It is easy to load. It's quick to grease with. Battery lasts forever. I think I got it on sale for $200 or something like that at Tractor Supply. And that was for the kit. Comes with a nice plastic carrying case and battery and charger. So this is the way to go for sure. There you can see the whole kit, nice case it comes with. And, it's got nice metal latches on it. So, all right, so there you go, $107 and a couple hours worth of your time, and you can save a lot of headaches down the road just by taking care of your machine, doing a little bit of preventative maintenance. So I like to do that with all of my equipment, trucks, cars, what have you. I like to just take that time and a few extra dollars to make sure you're doing that. So there's no reason you can't do this yourself with a few simple hand tools and a little bit of willingness to learn. So all right, we'll catch you next time.